We'll have to assess what is happening to the 5 lakh pharmacies in the country. I remember when I was a child, my local pharmacist would keep a watch. If I bought too much Benadryl, he's going to tell my mother. देख लो बच्चे को Benadryl का कुछ लत तो नहीं लग रही है. Online you can order what you want. I don't know what kind of course it's called drugs and pharmaceuticals, so I don't know what's getting ordered. It's a matter of concern that local pharmacist would take your prescription. He knew all the local doctors around. He would check the genuineness of that prescription and make sure your children are protected. Who's going to take that protection? That delivery boy who checks on your phone a prescription? How old is it? What does it cover?
Okay, some food for thought there coming in from none other than Piyush Goyal himself. In fact, let's take up that discussion forward. We've got Prashant Tandon, the co-founder and CEO at Tata 1mg, to talk about exactly that. Prashant, hi, morning. Thank you so much for taking the time out and speaking with us today. You know, I wanted your thoughts on what Piyush Goyal just flagged off. The fact that he's talked about predatory pricing and the risk for local retailers in the backdrop of online pharmacy. And of course, you know, a lot of checks and balances which go amiss in that process. What do you have to say about the same?
I think the context that the minister was coming from, it's been an old discussion for a while. Industry has been engaging with the ministry, and there's been active conversations around predatory pricing and its impact on small retailers. And I think that is something where a bunch of progress has been made. I think the government is contemplating the new policy, and it's totally in the context of all those conversations. I think he just wanted to make sure that when there is this full conversation about the benefits of e-commerce to consumers, we don't leave out the fact that there might be areas of concern that have to be addressed, and that I'm sure the continuing conversations between industry and government will address.
Right, Prashant. Good morning. This is Vinny joining in the conversation as well. You know, one concern obviously comes around is the predatory pricing as well, which Aisha was also talking about right now. Do you, think that is a big concern coming in for local players or local pharmacists? Because yes, there are discounts that come in when you do order online, so that becomes more attractive. What is your thought on that as well? And do you think that is something that one would be stepping back from the e-commerce pharmacy side?
It's a it's a debate between what is the right price. Where predatory pricing, I think there are enough laws that that address predatory pricing. It should not be the it's not the right way to move forward. Having said that, there is, I think, fair benefits of supply chain that that different business models can bring, and better pricing to the consumer at the end of the day. So it's a balance, and that's the balance where the industry and the government and regulators have to keep talking. And I don't think it's a this or that kind of a debate. It is something that, yes, the consumers at the end must have a long-term benefit of the best prices that they can get. And the government must make sure that it's not something that is a predatory move by a few corporates. I think the minister mentioned that there's influx of FDI, which is making a lot of predatory pricing happen, and all of that. Those discussions, I think, fair discussions. Those discussions are important. They should continue. And we need to figure out where is the healthy balance that consumers get the benefit of an active market competition and best pricing, while the behavior of all the players involved is in the right way. So I think you have to take it in the context of the conversation. What he said was e-commerce is definitely here to stay, but it needs to be a little more calibrated, and that's what is one of the concerns that the government is presently grappling with.
So, Prashant, what really is the way forward now for online pharmacy? I mean, we've been talking about as to how quick commerce is it when it comes to groceries and others. Can we expect the same for the pharmacy segment as well, perhaps?
I think at the end of the day, the consumers dictate what service they want and how they want to receive those. In fact, I would argue quick commerce is already being done very nicely by a lot of local pharmacies in various neighborhoods, where you call and or send a WhatsApp, and the medicine comes home in 30 minutes, 1 hour. So I think at the end of the day, the norm that will win is what the consumers are willing to support and prefer. So yes, there are in medicines, there is definitely a need for acute medicines to come quickly. We are trying to make sure we set up ourselves to deliver those kind of services as well. Having said that, it's something that is not very unique in the medicine world, because the local pharmacy is also kind of fulfilling that requirement for a lot of consumers.
Right. Prashant, I just want to talk a bit about the diagnostic side as well. Now, well, we have seen competition increasing from online players there versus the legacy players, brick mortar model that is there. Do you think there's a pricing war concern that comes in on that front as well? How do you see the pricing moving in this segment?
Yeah, I see it as more competition is actually very good for the consumers in the diagnostics world. What we are seeing is that consumers, first of all, are really appreciating the convenience of and the safety of having a home collection option, even with traditional labs, even with local labs. So that part is very much here to stay. At the end of the day, what is the fair pricing in the diagnostics domain? I think the margins do allow us, when we have economies of scale, to give a good deal to the consumer. So it's very much a situation of high quality tests being available by multiple players, and being available on your mobile phone. That's bringing more competition into the industry. I think that's a good thing. I think pricing discipline will continue. It's uh, uh, Having said that, I think the initial phase of diagnostics also was a lot of hyper discounting. That phase, I think, is behind us, but at least a strong competitive landscape where good players are competing with each other for the consumer. That's a good thing.
Again.
Okay, and Prashant, just lastly, expansion plans for Tata 1mg before we let you go.
So I think we have a fairly large and well-growing consumer side of business. Now we are also focusing a lot on the institutional side, which is our partnerships with corporates, our partnerships with the insurance companies, hospitals. So as we grow, we are also looking at brick and mortar retail. We've set up 50 stores in the northern part of the country. So those are the areas that are keeping us busy. A lot of fundamental work happening on data sciences and AI use in healthcare, and creating models that hopefully would be the model for not only India, but the entire global south. So a lot of exciting stuff in the works, but that'll probably be a much longer discussion. But these are the broad areas where we are, what's keeping us busy.
Sure, Prashant, thank you so much for joining in with us this morning on ET Now. It's a pleasure having you in the show.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.